Feb 10, Paverart, in the shop. Take one.
Good morning. I'm Mike Bull from Paverart. This is John Stevenson from Paverart. And we are standing on top of the Alabama A&M University logo that we're currently in the process of building. As you can see, it's not completely done. We're doing this a half at a time. The bottom half first. Once we pick this up, the top half will be the next portion built. We have to do this for one very good reason. We've only got so much space to build this. We can't do the entire 48-inch diameter piece. So we're going to do 24 feet at a time. One of the things we wanted to talk to you good folks today about is one of the processes that we use to build this piece. If you look very closely at the way this lays out, this is referred to as a continuous pattern. Now, it's a herringbone pattern. The client specified the herringbone pattern, and the degree that they wanted was the 45-degree herringbone pattern. So if you look at it in this direction, you'll notice the 45-degree angle of the herringbone pattern. One of the very interesting things that we get involved with here at Paverart, we have two ways of building this. We can build this with a continuous pattern, or we can build this with a discontinuous pattern. This particular piece was built with a continuous pattern. Let me demonstrate. The purpose of the continuous pattern is to allow the pattern lines of the 45-degree herringbone pattern to be continuous as you go from color to color. So you should be able to follow your joint lines in an exact pattern all the way across the piece. This is an excellent example of what I'm talking about. When I lay these pieces in, when these pieces were cut by John, these pieces are going to go in as such. Now, if you look closely, the outline of the 4x8 paver is still intact. The outline of the 4x8 paver is still intact. And you can follow this all the way across the 48-foot width or diameter of this piece. Why do we do a continuous pattern? We do a continuous pattern because it looks like it's all one piece. Some people claim that we're painting these things. As you can tell, we don't paint them, but it looks like they're painted. It gives you one continuous flow all the way across. The difference between this and a discontinuous pattern is that the red section, which is the letters for Alabama A&M University, the red section would be still a herringbone pattern, but it would be turned so that the gray or the tan section and the red section would not meet up and be one continuous pattern like you see through here. It would be discontinuous. A discontinuous pattern makes it look like the letters are floating on top of the design. The client didn't want that. We gave him exactly what he wanted. We can do both. Now, one of the things I want to point out, and this is where John comes in, the most important part of this aspect is the cutting. You're seeing the finished product. What this looks like in process, you'd never know what the finished product was going to look like. John, why don't we take a walk over to your machines and you can show us how this was set up with on the one machine and how it was set up on the other and why it was set up that way.
We have two machines, one here, one here. We've got our tan color pavers set up to run on this machine. Our red colored pavers are set up to run on that machine. So on the piece, you see the letters A, A, and U, and the outlines of the piece are where the cuts are. We basically have to set up two separate fields and make the same cut twice so that when they're laid down, they mesh and become that continuous pattern. One paver leaves off right where the other picks up. And we do that by cutting basically the design between one color on one machine, the other color on the other machine. And we get that continuous pattern by making sure that the machines start to cut in the exact same spot on both sides.
And you're running in tandem, are you not? Basically, both machines are running almost at the same time, because you've got to keep up with what one side's doing. You don't want to get too far ahead.
And the benefit of having both running at the same time is if one cut starts to stray a little bit, we can use the other cut to bring it back in line. So they're always within a certain degree of tolerance with each other.
What's the difference from a cutting standpoint if you were cutting a discontinuous pattern type situation?
Well, we don't have to worry about keeping them in line with each other. We set them up and we go.
That's the most important thing.
However it comes out, because they don't have to line up.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I hope that helps anyone that wants to know more about the continuous pattern versus the discontinuous pattern. The continuous pattern is what we just showed you. There will be more to come because we are now going to have to build the second half of this, and at some point we're going to have to masterfully set it up so that when it's installed, it's all going to mesh into one piece, one large 48-foot diameter finished piece.